Hi, I'm an old guy and I do maths. And the question today is what happened and how did we get from A to B? So essentially what we're looking at is we're looking at some form of translation or transformation. And initially we're going to use algebra to sort this out. So a really good way to start is to put both of these into a form in which we can see how they actually look when they're graphed. We could graph them, and in fact we will, but we'll do this with algebra first. Okay, so first things first, let's get this into turning point form, which will allow us to see what's actually going on. So just bear with me while I do this. So hopefully you can see what I'm up to here. I've made this part of this expression equal 0. I've moved this across to here, and so we get this x squared plus 6x plus half of 6, all squared rather, and that equals negative 5 plus 9. We added 9 to here, so we add 9 to here. And what we wind up with pretty quickly is this. And so if we're going to use this as a guide in turning point form, what it's going to look like is this. Okay, so that equals 0. And so we have a turning point at negative 3, negative 4. Now that gives us some really useful information. Now we're going to do the same over here. So x squared minus 10x plus negative 5 all squared, that equals negative 24. So I've moved that as before, plus 25, which is negative 5 squared. So again, I've added 5 squared to this side and 5 squared to this side. Without too much fuss and bother, we can get to this point, and from there we can get to this point. And again, we can take the information that this gives us and compare the turning points. So these are, in both cases, the minimum values of each of these functions. So the turning point here is 5, negative 1. Okay, and what that allows us to do is to analyze what's happened to the turning points, which will give us a basis for figuring out how we got from here to here. Okay, so the x turning point here is negative 3. So x equals negative 3. Here, which we'll call, we'll just mark it like this so we can distinguish these two. It equals 5. Now, how did we get from negative 3 to 5? Well, what we've done is this has moved 8 in the positive direction of the x-axis. So that is 8 positive. It's moved that way. Let's do the same for y. So y is equal to negative 4. And this value of y is equal to negative 1. And we can see that what has happened is that we've moved 3 in the positive direction of the y-axis. So that's my abbreviation for positive. So we can see very, very clearly here what has happened to get us from here to here. Now, this is I suppose this is really just a question of the turning points. However, what we can see is that if we were to, sorry, there should be a squared there. If we were to expand this, we get this equation. If we were to expand this, we would get this. So we can really, really see the change here. Now, there are other ways of doing this, and we can get this done really quickly and easily this way if you so desire. So we've got x squared plus 6x plus 5, and we can work out the turning point of this simply by finding the x value of the turning point, and we can do that with negative b over 2a. So negative b is negative 6 over 2, so that is negative 3. What a surprise! We already know that. You can see that clearly here. Negative 3. We can put negative 3 into this. I won't waste time doing that. It gives us a value of negative 4. So we have negative 3, negative 4. Let's park this roughly here. We know from this that the y-intercept is 5. So this thing looks roughly like this. And this is negative 3, negative 4, and this is 5. Now, over here, x squared minus 10x plus 24. Again, we can use the same method to find the x value of the turning point. So it is 10 over 2, so negative b over 2a. 10 over 2 is 5. We again already know that from this information, and if we put 5 into this equation for x, if we sub that in for x, what we get is negative 1. So this thing is 5, negative 1, and it heads up like that, and we know that its y-intercept, this is wildly out of scale, its y-intercept is 24. So, if we draw this out like this, we can also surmise what has happened here. We've moved from negative 3, negative 4 to positive 5, negative 1, and you can do the maths for that. So that's a basic way of finding out what has happened when you're confronted with a question about translations. So I hope this was useful and helpful, and see you next time. Thanks. Bye-bye.